All right, hello everybody. Sorry, I had a mental lapse earlier and I forgot to record while we were actually doing the class. So I'm gonna do the class again. Should make my back feel pretty good. So yeah, won't be a condensed version as much. It just might have a little less wordage in it, so a little less explanation. But we'll still go through all the exercises and get things loosened up. So we're going to focus on thoracic spine, so upper back and neck today. So let's get started. Let me adjust this. Okay, so what you're going to do, start with some shoulder rolls. So shoulder rolls backwards. Let's do a lot of these. Let's do about 20. We'll do all 20 reps. That way you can still get the flow of things. For those of you who weren't able to join today but want to do this class at home, make sure that you're doing these backwards. So backwards is good posture, forwards is bad posture. Forwards rolls things like this. We don't want that. We want up, back, and down. Okay, so after 20 of those, what you're going to do, you're going to sit up nice and tall, good posture, and we're going to do some neck rolls. So you're going to go all the way back, roll through that full range motion, up and around, and then back. Take some mental notes, see where you're tight. That way you know where you need to stretch a little bit later. So do about 10 of these each direction. Right there, left side of my neck crunching down as I bring it down that way, so I want to stretch that, which we'll get into in a little bit. Okay, then after 10 that way, you're going to do 10 the opposite way. Might feel some crunching in your neck, things moving around, that's okay. As long as you're not getting painful crunches the whole time. Ten of those. Don't go too fast, don't want to get dizzy. Okay, good. So now let's go on your back. Go this way. So we'll start with some neck range motion. So just flexion and extension. So chin tucks to looking at the sky. So imagine you have a wooden rod through each ear right here. That's your pivot point, okay? So you're on that wooden rod, pivoting through that to tuck your chin, trying to touch your sternum. And then you're rotating up as far as you can. So about 10 of those. All right, now we're gonna go into the neck rotation. So like I was telling everybody earlier, it's like you have a paintbrush on the back of your head going down into the ground, okay? So what you're gonna do, you'll start with a little bit of a chin tuck. So just keeping your chin down. I don't want your head way up here. So a little bit of a chin tuck, that way you're in more of a neutral position. You're gonna paint a line straight across as you turn your head to the right, then to the left. So keep that paintbrush in a straight line. I don't want to see waves or curves to it. Do about 15 of those back and forth, or 16 if you want to keep it even. All right, we'll do a couple more. I'll let you finish up with those. And then what we're going to do are some rotations with chin tuck. So I had somebody ask the question a little bit earlier, what's the difference between the chin tuck here and chin tuck at the end? And do you keep the chin tuck the whole time? So what you're going to do, you start with a little bit of a chin tuck just to set the angle. And then from there, you're going to rotate as far as you can. And then chin tuck down and try to touch your chin to your clavicle here. Don't, make sure you're not opening your mouth as you do it. Like that, don't cheat. Keep it coming from the neck. And then rotate. So back and forth, do about 10 of those. All right, should be about 10 right there. Now what you're gonna do is some side bending with some rotation. This is kind of a funky one. You side bend, so it's like you're trying to touch your ear to your same side shoulder. Keep it there, and then rotate your head the opposite way. So up and out the opposite way, and then bring it back, side bend, and rotate. So go back and forth, side bend, rotate, side bend, rotate, and do about 10 of those. I'll give you some time to do those. All right, so next, we'll cross ball. We had some questions about placement of this earlier too. So suboccipitals, sorry, my hair is super long right now. Usually it'd be easy to see the back of my head, but you're gonna find your occiput, which is the bony prominence in the back of the head. You're gonna go about 2 fingers down from that. Then you should feel some muscles on both sides right there. Those are your suboccipital muscles right here. You're gonna wanna put the lacrosse ball in those spots. So you'll go on your back, head on that lacrosse ball, and you're just gonna do small chin tucks, so small nods. You'll start on the right side, do about 10 nods, nice and slow. And it should feel almost like a burning pain, or not a burning pain, but a burning sensation back there, because that's what a fascial release does. You'll feel the burning. So do about 10, then you'll switch. So just bring it right to the other side onto that other muscle. And you'll do 10 of those like that. Small movements, not huge head movements. Head shouldn't be coming off the ground. I don't want you pushing down into the ball. Just want the release to be coming from moving your head up and down. That should be plenty. It should be nice and tender after doing that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put that ball in your upper trap. So upper trap is this big neck muscle that goes up into the neck, down into the shoulder, and then down into your thoracic spine in the back. So lacrosse ball is going to go on the back side of that, and you're going to get some leverage with your heels. So get that in between the ground and that upper trap, and then you're going to push with your heels so that you're pushing into the ball. The ball's going into that upper trap. You'll feel a burn with that. You might feel it in your ear a little bit. That's when you know you're in a good trigger point. So just kind of roll around, pushing into some different spots with that, rolling across the top of the muscle. Try to work through that. Spend maybe a minute, minute and a half, and then you'll switch to the other side. You'll do the same thing there. Work through that spot. So again, minute, minute and a half on each side with that. Once you finish those up. And then after those, what you're going to do are called axial extensions. So working on some postural muscles. So I was telling everybody earlier, when you're sitting, a lot of people sit forward, head, rounded shoulders like this. Okay, bad posture. We want to focus on good posture, bringing your head back. So your head, I was telling everybody earlier, your head weighs about 10 to 12 pounds. So that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight, especially when it's out here and it's pulling on the neck. So 10 pounds of pressure there. And if for every inch that your head goes forward, you want to add about 10 pounds. So if your neck is way out here, 2 to 3 inches away from your body, you have a significant hump back there. That's a lot of pressure on your neck in the upper back. You're probably going to be having some pain with that. So this exercise is to battle with that. So little chin tuck to set your position. Sit up nice and tall. And I want you to pull your head back so that your ears are in line with your shoulders. Keep that. Should have a nice little double chin doing this. Hold it for about 10 seconds and then release. Squeeze and hold. 10 seconds and release. You're going to do 10. Make sure you're breathing through this. Make sure your shoulders aren't coming up and you're not tightening your upper traps. Shoulders should be nice and relaxed. Keep that motion coming from the head. You might feel a little bit of a stretch in your upper back because you're getting some things moving that haven't been trying to move that way in a while. Freeing things up. And don't be surprised if you're sore the next day after this class. We're trying to jostle things free that might have been tight for a while, so should be sore after getting moved around and pushed on. All right, so after those 10, what you're gonna do is we're gonna start with thoracic spine. Okay, so we're gonna go on your hands and knees, and we're gonna do some yoga moves. We're gonna do cat-cows to start. Make sure that your arms are straight underneath your shoulders. Okay, so you're gonna do 2 different moves. The scared cat, which is really pushing that thoracic spine up, focusing on that curve, pushing and stretching. And when you do this with your hips, you're rolling into a posterior pelvic tilt. So it's like if you had a tail, you're tucking your tail in, rolling your hips back into that posterior tilt. And then you'll relax down into that cow position. Try to let your spine just kind of sink down, shoulders relax. Couple deep breaths, and then you'll go back into that scared cat. So we're working on thoracic extension and flexion at the same time, getting things moving. You're going to do 10 of these, nice and slow. Make sure you're breathing. A couple more. Okay, now let's do this. Let's grab a foam roller. Whatever one you got. I've got the black one, which is the hard foam roller. A lot of people have the black, the white, the blue and white, gray, pink, whatever works. Flip this around a bit. So let's start with, it's called matching. So meat tenderizer for the thoracic spine, loosening up those muscles, those paraspinal muscles, rhomboids, scapular muscles. So go into a little bit of a bridge. let your head relax into your hands. And then you're just going to roll up and down. You're going to start at the bottom of your shoulder blades. So the bottom, so it's called the inferior pole of your scapula. Starting there, roll up to the spine of your scapula, which is the bony part at the back of the shoulder blades. Just kind of roll through that segment of the thoracic spine. Spend about 30 seconds to a minute doing this. Trying to relax your head, relax your back. Might even get some pops while you do this. Okay, and then after that 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to drop your butt down. Going to go to the bottom of your shoulder blades again, hands behind the head. Then you're just going to sink back into that. So you're working on thoracic extension right now. Sink back into it. Take a few deep breaths, mini sit up. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to put the foam roller about ½ an inch towards your head higher. Okay, so bringing it up just a little bit, think about going 1 vertebrae up. And you're going to do those same extensions. That, take a few deep breaths, move it up 1 more vertebrae. Do the same thing, and then start working your way back down. So a few extensions there. Wow, once you get lower, so down in like this area, you're starting to get close to your floating ribs, which are really sensitive. You're not going to want to really roll there. It's just going to hurt more than it's going to do any good. So that's why my stopping point's always the bottom of the shoulder blades. You could spend some time. You could do that a couple times up and down if you want, but right today we're just going to do it once. All right. So now we'll get into some thoracic rotation. I like thoracic rotation exercises, so I'm going to show you 3 different ones. Okay, so you can do threading the needle first. So you can use with or without the foam roller. It'll be on your hands and knees. If you're using the foam roller, put your hand on the inside of it, opposite hand underneath on the foam roller here, rotating through like that. So you're keeping all the movement coming from the upper back, trying to keep the hips neutral, rotate through like that. Without the foam roller, it would just look like this. You're just reaching. This is the threading the needle. And you'll do about 10 of those to each side. Okay, then after those 10, you're gonna sit back onto your heels or as far back as you can. Sitting onto the heels locks out your lower back. It's just a little more comfortable for the lower back. Might not be as comfortable if you have like a knee replacement or something like that. If you did have a knee replacement and it's tight and not comfortable doing this, you can either just do the threading the needle, you can sit back as far as you feel comfortable with, or you can just do the next one. But if you feel okay with this one, you can go hand behind the head, sit back onto those heels, and rotate as far as you can. Do 10 of those each way. Like that. And then the other option for this, if you have any shoulder issues and you can't put your hand behind your head, is you'll go hand behind the back. You can rotate that way like that. Okay, so 10 to 15 of those each way. All right, and then the third one is your side lying openers. So my bottom leg's straight out, top leg curled over like that, hands out to the side here. And then what I'm doing is I'm keeping this leg down, keeping the bottom leg straight, rotate and open. You'll feel that through that thoracic spine, might feel it through the ribs a little bit. Just nice and slow. rotate through there. You're gonna do 10 to 15 of these on each side. Okay, I'm gonna switch, show you the other side. It's just gonna be the opposite. So this knee up, bottom leg straight, arms out, and rotate. Bringing the knee up just locks out the low back. Okay, so you'll finish up with 10 to 15 of those. Really focus on getting a good stretch with all these. You're just going through the motions. You do this whole video every day and it's not going to make too much of a difference. You want to really focus on getting a good stretch with each one. Each stretch should take about a minute or two and should be 1 to 2 minutes of all focused stretching for each of those individually. Okay, so let's do the last one. This is going to be our prayer stretch. So it does a couple things. Activates your lower traps. So in the back, lower traps are about right here. So your trap muscles come down to here. And when your upper traps get really tight, this is really important to try to inhibit those upper traps. So by activating your lower traps, it will help inhibit your upper traps and help take away from that tightness. So you're gonna stand up nice and tall, or sit up nice and tall. You can stand up too if you want. Arms in, prayer position, elbows in like this. Rotate pinkies out. Keep those elbows tucked. Rotate back. If I was flexible enough, I would be able to touch my pinkies back in my midline behind me. So rotate as far as you can. Get that pinch between the shoulder blades. Make sure you're not straining though, just getting things moving. Go through that and you're gonna finish with about 15 of those. Should feel your shoulder blades moving, okay? So as you're doing this, your shoulder blades should feel like they're trying to go towards the opposite back pocket, or you're trying to put them there. Squeeze them down and back. Down and back. Okay, so finish with 10 to 15 of those, and then that is week 1. That is thoracic spine and neck mobility.